So we've already had a lot of information this morning. And oh, by the way, I'm the person that Christina kept pointing to. My name is Tricia Thaxton. I'm the liaison officer with PERA. And so we're here to answer your questions about your retirement. And so we've had some really good questions so far. And so let's just keep this going. So we have covered being an active member. So we have covered earning service credit. You can change your beneficiary at any time. You can make contributions while you are an active member to a deferred compensation account. Now we're going to start transitioning over into the retirement process, because we're all here for the big salaries, right? No, we are absolutely here for the retirement, right? Absolutely. So how many people want to retire someday? Someday. How many people want to retire a little bit sooner? How many people want to go today? Absolutely. Buying that time, saving through a deferred compensation account, that's the way that you're going to be able to do that. And so we have tools available for you to try to earn that service credit, to get you qualified for retirement, to get you retired a little bit sooner. How many people actually have a retirement plan, something that you're planning on doing after retirement? A few of you. That's great. What's your retirement plan? Say it again. Go fishing. Fabulous plan. A little tough here in New Mexico with very little water. So you might be traveling a little bit, so you have to travel to go fishing maybe? 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 You said you had a retirement plan. What is your retirement plan? I like it. Finish up all his hot rod projects. They're not little Matchbox cars, are they? No, they're the big ones. They're the... everything's bought and paid for already, just doesn't have the time. That's a perfect one. And so I'll certainly keep you off that honey-do list. I have a retirement plan, so I have a few years to go before I retire, but I am planning to make sure that my mortgage is all paid off, that my credit cards are all paid off. So I will actually be debt-free when I retire, so that I have all of my retirement money available for me to do whatever I want in my retirement. So I'm actually making those plans now to make sure that I can get to that point so that I can get to my retirement plan. Already paid off everything here. So, you know, this is something that you want to be thinking about. You want to be thinking about planning for your retirement. So let's go ahead and start that process. So on page 21 in the green book, and it is going to be on page 20 in the purple book, this is how your pension is going to be calculated. And it's the same for both tiers, tier 1 and tier 2. It's your years and months of service times the pension factor that you qualify for, and then that is multiplied by your final average salary, the average of your highest 36 consecutive months of earnings. Sorry. So did I see anywhere in here anything about your account balance? Nope, I didn't, because your account balance is not part of the calculations to come up with your pension. It's those three things: pension factor, average salary, service credit. Okay? And so starting in July of 13, we have something called a blended pension. And a blended pension means that you are earning that pension factor under the plan that you're currently working for. So when you came in today, we asked you the question, did you start working with a PERA employer before July 1st of 2013? And those people that said yes, you got a green book. So the rule for your service credit up to June 30th of 2013 is, we're looking at where did you earn a minimum of 3 years in the highest plan. So we're meeting with people this afternoon, and so I did one of the audits, and they had some time under Municipal Fire Plan 5 and for a few months, and then they went down to Municipal Plan 2, and then they went over to Municipal Plan 3, then back over to Municipal Fire Plan 5. And so it was like jumping around. So we're looking at where did you earn 36 months under the highest plan? Well, he did get 36 months under Municipal Fire Plan 5. So all of his service credit prior to July 1st of 2013 will be calculated under that plan. But starting July 1st, we're going to be looking at where did you earn that service credit. So if he stays with Fire Plan 5, it's going to be calculated at that 3.5% pension factor. If he moves again and it goes down to a lower pension factor, we would stop with the 3.5, and then with that new employment, it would start earning at whatever that new, whatever that employer's retirement plan is. So that's how a blended pension is calculated now. Does that make sense? Do you need me to explain it a different way? Okay, that's great. And so that's a blended pension. And so that's one of the hardest things that our PERA staff had to kind of get our heads around. And so we know that it's, you know, kind of a weird kind of concept. And so if you do have questions about it, please ask. On page 22 in the green book, 21 in the purple book, this is kind of a little worksheet that you can use to calculate a blended pension. Now, getting ready for retirement is an interactive process. So I cannot tell you how many times that we have sent estimates of benefits to people. It just so happens, it's a coincidence that the date that they gave is right on track with the day that the month that we send it back. So, for example, somebody said they wanted to retire November 1st. We get the estimate, we send it back, they get it here in October to retire October 1st. We have seen this so many times. We give people estimates of benefits and they flip through the pages. And literally it's on page 5, and they look at the numbers. They don't look at anything else. We don't send you junk mail. We want you to read this information that we're sending you. So they get to page 5, they're looking at the numbers, and they're like, oh yeah, I can retire on this. And so they go to their employer, they say, I'm going to retire through PERA, they process out, and then they go home, and then they start, you know, sitting on the couch eating Cheetos. And after a couple of months, and they're bathed in orange, they give us a call, and they say, where's my pension check? And we're like, well, who are you? And so we start going through our office, we go through our files, and we're like, we don't have any retirement paperwork for you. And they're like, paperwork? Yeah, that's a problem, because it's an interactive process. The estimates that we give you is literally a snapshot in time. It's, if I work to this date, then I can retire on this date, and then this is an estimate of how much I'm going to be getting. This is nothing cast in stone. So we need information from you in order to get you retired. So the first thing we need is proof of age for both you and your beneficiary. And that can be easy as one of 5 things. And that is a copy of a valid New Mexico driver's license, a copy of a valid New Mexico ID, a copy of a valid passport. Do you see a theme going here? Okay. A copy of a birth certificate or a copy of a baptismal certificate issued before the age of 18. Okay, so if you happen to have your birth certificate and it has the little feet on it, our staff loves it. They see the little feet and they go, oh. So that would just make our day if you send that in. If you decide to want to send in your copy of your ID or your birth certificate or your driver's license, your ID, or passport, you know that if you put something like that on a copier and you hit copy, it comes out a beautiful black blob. That is not going to be helpful for us. And so if you could just take that to a color copier and make a copy of it there, that would work very well, because we need to see your birth date. We need to see your name. And we'd love to see your beautiful picture on your ID. I'm sorry? Can you scan it? You can certainly scan it, but you have to have a physical printout of it. And so if you scan it to make the copy, You still have to make that physical copy. You cannot email us scanned objects. Okay?
So as long as the driver's license is legible and visible, does it be in black and white, or does it have to be in color?
The question is, does it have to be color? As long as it's black and white and it's legible, is that okay? Yes. And so if you can make a legible black and white copy, that's perfectly fine with us. So the next thing we need is, if you are married, we need to have a copy of your marriage certificate, not the license, but the marriage certificate. If it's a typical New Mexico one, sometimes the certificate's a little section down at the bottom. We need a copy of that little section. Sometimes it's front and back, and so if you want to give us the license and the certificate, that's fine. We just need the certificate. That just verifies that you actually did get married. The next thing we need is copies of your divorce decrees and property settlements. And we get a lot of questions about this, and so I have a visual for you. So pretend that this is your lifeline, and you start with working with PERA right here, and you're working with PERA, and then this is when you retire, and then this is when you are in retirement. So before you start working with PERA, you're going along in life, and you find the love of your life, and you get married, and you're married to that same person when you start working with PERA. You're married to that same person when you retire. All we need is a copy of that marriage certificate. That was easy. Okay, so we're starting over. So you're going through life. You marry the love of your life. Ooh, they did not turn out to be the love of your life, and you get divorced. And then you start with PERA. They happen to ruin you on love for the rest of your life, and you never get remarried, and then you retire. Because your marital status never changed out of being divorced, we need to have a copy of that divorce decree, even though it happened prior to you becoming a PERA member. Relatively okay. So we're going to start over. Going through life, you get married, get divorced, and then you get married, and then you start working with PERA, and you married that same person when you retire. Because you were married to that same person while you are a PERA member, we do not need that previous divorce decree. That's good news. So here's the last one. You're going through life, you get married, divorced, married, yay, PERA, and then you get divorced, married, divorced, married, divorced, married, divorced, married, divorced, married, and you retire. If this is you and you have done this 8 times, then congratulations, you will tie the current record. Yes, yes. We are easily amused in our office, and we do keep track of these things. And so, if this is you, we do need all 8 copies of those divorce decrees and property settlements while you've been a PERA member. And so, you want to make sure that, you keep these on file with you until you retire. Because if you go through I'm done with this person and I'm going to have the annual burning of the divorce decree and property settlement, you want to make copies of that before you do that, or at least burn the copies, because you're going to have to do some running around to try to find those. In this particular case, all 8 ex-spouses did get a portion of this person's retirement. Remember, Christina went over the age and service requirements about how, when you qualify to get certain percentages. This person is working a little bit longer in order to keep some portion of his pension for himself. Oops, sorry, it's a he. I met somebody that knew this person, and I was then told that it was not 8 separate people, that he married the same person several times. Well, love is eternal. Hope is eternal. We got to keep hoping for going to find the right one.
Whenever we get online, do you guys keep track of anything? Do you have a file on?
The question is, if we go online, does PERA keep track of you? And do we have a file for you? And so it just made me laugh. It's like, of course we have a file for you. And we talk to people, we definitely keep track of you.
I just think we can be proactive on our, whatever we need to keep up with.
You know what, this is perfect. He wants to be proactive and send those divorce decrees and property settlements in as they happen. That would be great, because then you don't have to send them in when you, at the very end. You might lose them, or they might accidentally go up in smoke. Who knows? So, yes, if you're all proactive and you send these in at, when they happen, it's actually easier for you, it's easier for us, because we keep them on file for you. Yes, we do have an electronic file. We image everything that you send us. It goes into a specific online and file. Can you see these images? No. That is not available through the Rio self-service, but PERA staff has access to them. If you call us and you ask us, we can look in your account and we can see, yes, we did receive the divorce decree for Joe Smith versus Jane Smith. Okay. Then way in the back and then you.
If you've got a divorce decree from a previous, are they still entitled to part of your retirement unless you've got it written up in the divorce documentation that they signed off?
So the question is, if you already have a divorce decree, is the ex-spouse entitled to any portion of your PERA benefits that's not stated in the, it's not stated in the divorce decree?
Yeah, it is stated in my.
It is stated. If it's stated in the divorce decree how the PERA benefits are going to be divided, then yes, you absolutely need to do that. If it's stated that each person keeps their own separate retirement benefits, excellent for you. If it's not stated, you should have PERA look at it, our legal division look at it, so that they can make that determination. It's not something either myself or Christina can do. It's not something that, just one of our PERA staff members can do. Our legal division needs to review that.
Well, if nothing's stated in there, they're entitled to a portion.
I am not going to, the question is, if nothing is stated, they're entitled to a portion. I'm not going to say that, for the reason being is that, one, I don't have the documents in front of my hands. I am not a legal assistant. I cannot state equivocally yes or no. That's something that needs to be reviewed by our legal division, and they need to make that determination. Okay? But it's really important to know that a divorce is a negotiation. Okay? And so if there's something that you really, really want to keep, pension, and there might be something that you're willing to give away. I have a friend who said that, if she ever gets divorced, she's going to negotiate to make sure she keeps her children and her pension, and her would-be ex-husband can have everything else, because everything else is stuff. You can replace stuff. You can't replace the pension and the children. So that's just something to think about. It's a negotiation, so whatever you negotiate, it's perfectly fine with PERA. Yes?
So if you have exes that have passed away, do you still need to do all the paperwork?
If you have exes that have passed away, do you still need to do all the work? Yes. We still need to have copies of those divorce decrees and property settlements. We probably should get a copy of the death certificate, because it depends on how the divorce decree and property settlement is written, depends on if we would still pay that ex-spouse's estate some portion of your pension. So it just depends on how it's written. Okay? So the next thing we need is your beneficiary's Social Security number on the application for pension, and then there are 4 forms: the application for pension, tax deduction form, a direct deposit form. If you are currently married at the time of retirement, the spousal consent form. If you are not married, then it would be the affirmation of marital status. Now we don't want to, put you in a bad spot or make fun of you or anything, but if you come to our office, we would, be more than happy to review your paperwork with you if that's what you would like us to do. If you bring your spouse with you, that's great. We would love to meet the spouses too. But if you bring the paperwork with us and you have both the spousal consent form and the affirmation of marital status, we're going to hold up both forms and ask, which one are you? And if your spouse might kick you under the table. And so you want to make sure that you get the right form in the right place. So any questions about the different forms? Okay. Yes?
So with that beneficiary spousal consent form, if it says here that this form is completed when the paradigm member is married and designating someone else. So if I'm designating my spouse and not someone else, I don't need to complete this, or do I still need?
The question is, on the spousal consent form, because there is actually a spousal consent form in your book, if I am naming my spouse, do I still need to have their consent? Yes. Because they are acknowledging what form of payment that you are going to be receiving, and whether or not it's a beneficiary option, which is options B or C, or it's a non-beneficiary option, which is option A. If you decide to name one of your dependent unmarried children under the age of 25 under option D, they are acknowledging that they are kind of waiving their rights, or they're going to be receiving those pension benefits. Another question we get all the time is, can you name anybody you want? Sure, absolutely. Christina's already volunteered to be your beneficiary. It's a smile. Smile gets them every time. And so we were doing a seminar just like this. After the seminar, a gentleman came up, and I'm going to rat him out. It's a gentleman. And he said that he's wanting to retire. He wants to name his girlfriend as his beneficiary. And we're like, well, sure, you can name anybody you want. He said, but I thought it had to be like a blood relative. And we're like, no. You can name anybody you want. Then there was a slight pause, and everybody knows that's when the other shoe's going to drop. He goes, well, I'm married, and I want to name my girlfriend. Does my wife need to consent? Well, after being taken aback a little bit, we're like, well, yes, she does. And he goes, oh, no, it's okay. We've lived like this for years. Everything's fine. So we kept track of him because it was a little unusual. And he did retire. He did name his girlfriend as the beneficiary, and his wife did consent. So the moral to that story is it never hurts to ask, unless you are her husband. And then it would hurt because, there's notes in his file. Yeah, he cannot ask. No, not at all. So some time frames that you want to be aware of: 3 years away from retirement, you want to start asking for that estimate of benefits that I told you about. And that estimate of benefits literally is a snapshot in time. If I retired on this date with this person as my beneficiary, what is an estimate of my benefits going to be? 1 year away from retirement, you absolutely want to be asking for an estimate of benefits, because you're going to be making a decision on what form of payment that you want to be paid at. 60 days away from your retirement date, you need to be submitting all the paperwork that I just went over to PERA, because that will give us enough time to process all of that information and get you on our payroll on time and on schedule. If you were, and let's just use this as an example, retiring November 1st, your first check will be direct deposited the last working day of November. So we always direct deposit the last working day of the month, and we pay once a month. So here's a question for you. If somebody came in today, they had it with their job, they qualified for retirement, they submit all their paperwork, and they wanted to be a November 1st retiree, will PERA be able to put them on payroll or get them retired November 1st? I'm seeing some no's. Well, absolutely we will. That's our job. That's our name, the Public Employees Retirement Association.